Welcome back. So we are talking today about Justin Peck and his season preview for Kubota High Limit Racing in 2025. He is one of the 14 full-timers as of right now that we know will be running the entire season this year. Justin Peck, it's going to be a little bit different though for him this year, as last season he was driving the Buick Motorsports 13. At the end of the year last year, Zeb Wise was let go from the 26. Justin Peck was hired, and now they are going to contest this full season once again. Now, Justin Peck, right now, 26 years old. He is from Monrovia, Indiana. That is a Maxim chassis that they run with the Rudine Racing car, which is different from what he ran with Buick Motorsports. They always ran RPM chassis, so a new chassis for Justin Peck, and he seems to have taken a liking to it very, very quickly, as he's already got 3 wins with the Rudine 26 car, a couple top 5s, a couple top 10s with the Outlaws. Things have went very, very well for this team so far. Now, spearheading the team is the crew chief, Tyler Tessemaker, and below him you have the car chief of Brandon Hickman and the tire specialist of Aaron Beeler. Beeler coming over from Gio Scelzi and the 18 team on the Outlaw Tour. He has joined Rudine for 2025. Now, looking at the schedule this year for High Limit Racing, we have right here in the middle, the red writing are new tracks for this particular driver. And in the green writing, those are the tracks where that driver has won at before. And I do need to reiterate this because somebody got confused on the last video. Those green tracks are tracks that are on the high limit schedule this season that they have won at. Justin Peck has won at a ton of different racetracks, but those 6 right there are the ones that he's actually went to victory lane before on this tour. So Kokomo, Port Royal, Eldora, Tulare, Bridgeport, and Utica Rome are all racetracks that Justin Peck has won before that he will be going back to this season. But you look on this side, there's a lot more tracks. There are 11 in red right here, including a bunch at the very beginning of the season, the very first weekend of the year, Vegas. He's never been to Vegas. The next race after that, Kern, he's never been there. Luckily, the race after that, Tulare, he's won there, but then right after it, he's never been to Paris, he's never been to Arizona, never been to Route 66, never been to Dodge City, never been to Texarkana. So all those tracks right there are within the first 10 or 11 races of the season, and Justin Peck has not been to a lot of them. He's also never been to 141 or Red Cedar in Wisconsin, and he's never been to Florence Speedway in Kentucky and Path Valley Speedway in Pennsylvania. So a lot of new tracks for Justin Peck compared to when we did Brent Marks on this season preview board. But still, I think Justin Peck is going to be just fine. But that very beginning of the season is going to be very interesting to see how they will be able to adapt to some new racetracks, especially with this team still trying to learn each other and get used to each other. I know it's gone well so far, but they haven't really had to go up and down the road together and night after night, bam, bam, bam. They haven't had to deal with that yet, which can maybe affect things, but we'll see how it goes for them. Last year, SprintCarRatings.com, Justin Peck was the 17th best driver overall in Sprint Car Racing, and in parentheses there, you'll see 7th. That means he was the 7th best among high-limit racing drivers. So Brent Marks is in front of him, Corey Day, Tyler Courtney, Rico Abreu, guys like that, all in front of Justin Peck. But still, 17th best driver overall last year. Pretty damn good number there for Justin Peck, and I believe that that number will improve at the end of this year. Now, his best stat with high limit in 2024, when comparing him to all of the full-timers last year, he was the 5th best average qualifier. He had a 7.1 average qualifying effort, and he was also 5th best in quick time awards, which was 4 for him last year. So qualifying is certainly a strength for Justin Peck. And last year, you see right there, he was 6th in the overall point standings when it comes to the driver points. The Roth Motorsports car was in front of him, but in the driver points, Justin Peck was P6 overall. Now, looking at the stat line here, his overall stats from last year with just high limit in 2024, 51 starts. He did get 1 win, 15 top 5 finishes, 30 top 10s. He led 53 laps of main event competition. He had a plus 56, so he was passing more cars than he was getting passed by in the main events. 7.1 qualifying average and a 9.6 average on the finishing department as well. So his average finish in the top 10, his average qualifying in the top 10 as well. Pretty good numbers there for Peck. Now, down here at the very bottom, we've got the strengths, we've got the things he needs to improve on, and my prediction for Justin Peck and this team in 2025. The strengths, Justin Peck is a consistent guy all year long. I looked at this stat with Brent Marks, but the average finish from the first half of the year to the second half of the year for Brent Marks was down almost 5 positions. For Justin Peck, it was about the same. It was a 9.1 to, I believe it was a 9.6. I can double check over here if my laptop will turn on. And the answer to that question is it was a 9.9 the first half of the year, and it improved to a 9.4. So the average finish throughout the entire year was pretty good. Obviously, you want that number to be a little bit lower, but it wasn't like he, sucked the first part of the year and then got better as the year went on. He was consistent all the way through. He's also, as I mentioned, he's very good at qualifying. 7.1 qualifying average is going to line you up very well for the heat race. You're going to be in the dash more often than not. And then 4 quick time awards was very, very good for him as well. And also, he has momentum on his side right now. I don't know if that's really something that counts toward the strengths department, but in my opinion, it does. There is a lot of momentum on the side of Justin Peck and this team right now. Peck is in a new situation for the first time in a very long time. He's in a successful situation as of right now. They've already got 3 wins, which came in a 3-in-a-row variety at Volusia Speedway Park. They've ran in the top 10. They've ran in the top 5 with the Outlaws on very, very limited starts so far. I think there is a ton of momentum on the side of this team and this driver right now, which can only help them going into their first full-time season together. Also on the strengths department, I have him very good at big racetracks. Now, Justin Peck is good at the small tracks, but I think he really, really excels at the big tracks as well. You see over here on just the high limit schedule, he's won before at Port Royal. He's won before at Eldora. He's won before at Utica Rome. And then off the high limit schedule, he's won before at Williams Grove Speedway. He's won before at, what was that one track? I can't remember off the top of my head. In Bloomsburg Fair Speedway, I'm pretty sure that's a big racetrack as well. I just mentioned he's won at Volusia Speedway Park. So Justin Peck, he is very, very good at big tracks. Unfortunately for him, there aren't a ton of big tracks on the high limit racing schedule, but Eldora pays $100,000 to win. The Weikert is, $57,000 to win. The Tuscarora 50 is something crazy to win as well. And so those things could help out Justin Peck. And this team has won before at Port Royal before and Eldora. So I think that's a pretty damn good combination. A car and a driver, good at big racetracks. They could take home some big money this year. Now, things that Justin Peck, I believe, need to improve on. One of them is he needs to be in less B mains this year. Last season, he was in 5 B mains, which might not sound like a lot, but he was in the top 5 of all the drivers last year with high limit for the most B main event appearances. I'll be able to tell you the exact number here in just a moment. Justin Peck was actually the 4th highest, I believe that is, if that's not, the 4th highest in B main event appearances last year among all of the full-timers with high limit. So I know Chris Windham was behind him. Brenham Crouch was behind him. I don't know anything else after that, but not a very good number there for Peck. He wants to improve upon that. Also, he needs to start in the top 5 and finish inside the top 5 more often. He starts in the top 5 all the time, but it's hard for him, it seems like, to stay inside the top 5. Last year, he started in the top 5 15 times and only finished there 9 times, which was 60% of the time he was able to stay in the top 5. I definitely think he needs to improve upon that as well. Also, he needs to finish the job. Last year, he led 4 races and only had 1 win. So there was many times where Peck was up front leading the race, but was unable to finish the job out. I think back to Golden Miles when he was leading that one and missed the bottom, and Jacob Allen rolled right by him and took the lead away. So Justin Peck needs to be better at finishing the job when he's up front leading a main event. And then he needs to start the season better as well, because last season they did not get off to a very hot start, and that put him in a hole at the beginning of the year. Now, looking back to his first couple of races last season, he started off 26th at East Bay. Then he was 12th at East Bay. Then he had 2 good runs. He was 3rd both nights at Golden Miles. But then he was 21st at Texas, 19th at RPM, bounced back with a 5th at Red Dirt. But then he was, right after that, 12th, 7th, 17th, and 15th. So a lot of finishes outside the top 10 to start off the year, and that is hard to rebound from when you're racing against such a competitive group like High Limit Racing. So Justin Peck needs to get off to a better start in 2025. Now, my prediction for him and this team this year, I believe they're going to run somewhere between 5th and 6th in points. I think that Peck is going to be fighting right there with Brent Marks and Aaron Reitzel. I think it's going to be those three guys going for 4th, 5th, to 6th position. But I've got Peck finishing on the back half of those spots between 4th, 5th, and 6th. I think he'll be right there around the top 5, and I think he's going to get more wins than he did last year for sure. He only had 1 all last season. I think with this team, he's going to get 4 to 5 wins. I really, really do. Last year, I had him between 3 and 5. I was a little bit off on that, obviously, but I think with what they've shown already against the Outlaws and getting the wins at Volusia against a good field of 360s, I think there's no reason to believe that Justin Peck won't get 4 to 5 wins this year, and maybe the best season of his entire career could be upon us here with Justin Peck. I think they're definitely going to get a charter position as well for Redeem Racing, and not related to High Limit at all, but I do think that Justin Peck will finally get that World of Outlaws win off of his, or finally get that checked off his bucket list, because he is one of the main guys, I would say, that, you look at the whole field of sprint car drivers, you think, how in the world has Justin Peck not won a World of Outlaws race quite yet? He's led a bunch of races, hasn't been able to make it work. But I think this year could be the year that Justin Peck is able to get that first Outlaw victory out of the way. And I think a lot of people do want to see that happen. So, yeah, that's what we've got here for Justin Peck. Let me know in the comment section below, how do you think he is going to do this year? Do you think he's going to be getting more wins? Do you think he'll be in the top 5 in points? Let me know your thoughts and how you think this team is going to do this upcoming season. We're less than a month away from the season beginning down at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. So thank you all so very much for watching. Really do appreciate the support. Make sure to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, comment your thoughts down below, and we'll talk to you guys again here very, very soon.